Life back home was falling apart. We were struggling financially, and everyone around me had only one suggestion: move to another state, try your luck there. That's how I ended up moving from Kansas to work in a manufacturing plant in Savannah, Georgia. But Georgia didn't make life easier. In fact, it felt even tougher. When I arrived, I was just trying to survive. I had never gone out of my way to find happiness. I had never fallen in love, never even looked at a guy with interest, and I'd certainly never imagined getting married. But after spending a few months here, life took a strange turn. That's when I met Jason. Jason was quiet, older, and a bit of a loner. We worked in the same factory, both in the production department. He kept to himself, always focused on his work. I don't even think he realized that I had started noticing him. Jason was 35. I was 20. I know what you're thinking. That's a huge age gap. But there was something in him. Something real. Something kind. I fell for that. One day I gathered the courage and told him I liked him. I even said I wanted to marry him. His reaction? Total shock. He could barely breathe. He later told me he never imagined a girl like me, young, outgoing, and lively, would ever want to marry a man like him. Someone from a small town in Missouri with a humble job and a quiet life. I could see the disbelief in his eyes. For him, this wasn't just love, it was a miracle. His past relationships, or the lack of them, made him believe he wasn't worthy. Back home, girls' families wouldn't consider him for marriage. They said things like, "Jason's too busy and he doesn't have enough money." He thought he'd never find love. But here I was, 15 years younger, head over heels for him. He kept asking me, "Why me? What did you even see in me?" He didn't understand that sometimes love doesn't make sense. It just happens. When he told his parents, they were initially thrilled. But then his mom cried. Over the phone, she asked, "Jason, do you really think this girl will let you stay close to us?" She was scared. Scared that a young woman from a different culture, living far away from their hometown, might pull him away for good. She didn't blame me. She was just afraid of losing her only son. But Jason loved his mom. Her words hit him hard. He felt torn. He asked me about it one night. Would I let him stay close to his parents? I laughed and hugged him. "You silly man," I said. "Why don't we bring your parents here to live with us?" He was stunned. "Seriously," I continued. "You're their only child, right? They're living alone back in Missouri, and you've told me your relatives aren't that warm toward them. Let's bring them here. They can stay nearby, and we'll get married with them by our side." He was overwhelmed. I could see it in his eyes. It was the first time I saw him cry. We made the arrangements quickly. I covered their travel expenses. I'd been working in the factory since I was 18, so I had some savings. Jason had only been there for 6 months. He was still settling, and maybe I liked that he wasn't trying to act macho or rich. He was humble, respectful. That's what made me fall for him. When his parents arrived, they were surprised, especially to see their son getting married to someone like me. They couldn't believe it. Neither could Jason. We got married in a small ceremony. Jason was glowing. I was too. He said I looked like a fairy, like a porcelain doll. I told him he looked just as handsome, even though he kept reminding me he wasn't educated or stylish. But that didn't matter. On our wedding night, he gave me a small gift, an artificial jewelry set. It wasn't fancy. Just a small bag, no box, no wrapping. He also had a second pouch filled with cash, but he hesitated to give it to me. He said, "This is just for daily expenses." I teased him. "I thought you'd surprise me with something special. A teddy bear, chocolates, something fun." He looked guilty.
"I'm sorry, Babita. I got so caught up thinking about my parents. I forgot. But tomorrow, I'll get you something really special.
I forgave him. Of course I did. He started to place the pouch of money under the mattress. I stopped him. What are you doing? I smiled. Why put it there? He asked.
Then where should I keep it?
Duh. In the closet, I replied, and tucked it safely inside, locking it up. But he noticed something. He asked why I was locking the closet, why I seemed hesitant about letting him near the mattress. He started to grow suspicious. In the morning, I sat beside him, waking him up gently. Come on, sleepyhead. We have to go to work. Your parents might think I've kidnapped you. He laughed, but I could feel he was watching me more closely. Now that day, he bumped into an old friend from his hometown, Karen. Over coffee, Jason told him everything, including the part about how I acted weird with the mattress, about me locking things away when I thought he wasn't looking. Karen's reaction shocked him. Bro, Karen said.
You need to find out what she's hiding. No offense, but something feels off. She's young, pretty, smart. Why would she want to marry a guy like you so fast?
Jason didn't want to believe him, but he couldn't shake the doubts. That night, I caught Jason trying to peek under the mattress. I called him out on it. You're lying on my side, I said, smiling, trying to play it off. You know how much I care about cleanliness. Don't mess up my bed. I rested my head on his shoulder and fell asleep, pretending everything was normal. But the truth? I was hiding something, and he knew it. The next morning, Jason remembered exactly what happened. How I had quickly taken something from under the mattress and locked it away. Later, he told Karen. And Karen said what Jason was already starting to fear.
You need to find out what she's hiding before it's too late.
Jason decided that the next time he got the chance, he'd look under the mattress and finally discover the truth. But then, he turned around and saw me standing behind him. I had heard everything. And in that moment, standing there in silence, everything changed. Jason froze. I was standing at the door, arms crossed, an unreadable look on my face. You were going to look under the mattress, weren't you? I said, voice calm, but laced with hurt. Jason tried to speak, but couldn't find the words.
I didn't mean to.
You don't trust me, I interrupted. He stood there, guilt washing over him like a wave.
I do, Babita. It's just, Karen made me think. I didn't want to, but...
I sighed and walked over to the bed. With slow, deliberate hands, I lifted the mattress. Jason stepped back, expecting... what? Cash? Documents? Something dark? Instead, there was a small, worn-out wooden box, carefully tucked beneath the corner. I opened it and held it out to him. Inside were a few old photographs, yellowed at the edges, and a folded piece of notebook paper. Jason picked it up gently. The photos were of a little girl with a kind-eyed man and woman, clearly my parents. And the letter, it read, To my future husband, if you're reading this, it means we've started our life together. And you've been curious. I lost my parents when I was 13. After that, I moved between relatives who treated me more like a burden than family. I learned to hide things that mattered to me, to protect the few memories I had left. That's why this box has always stayed under my mattress. If you're the man I hope you are, then I'll never have to hide anything. Again, but I needed to wait, until I was sure. If you can read this without judging me, without walking away, then maybe, just maybe, I found my home in you. Jason looked up at me, his eyes glassy. I wasn't hiding something from you, I whispered. I was hiding something for me, something I wasn't ready to lose again. There was a long silence. Then Jason stepped forward and wrapped his arms around me.
I'm sorry,
he whispered.
for doubting you, for not asking before assuming. I should have trusted my heart instead of someone else's fears.
We stood there, quietly holding each other. The air between us heavy with emotion, but also relief. Later that night, Jason gently placed the wooden box in the closet. Not to hide it, but to say,
It's safe now.
he never questioned me again. And I never needed to hide anything under the mattress again.